All right, here we go. So just kind of review the first 3 lessons or so. We've got the musical alphabet we learned, A through G. We've got, and those are the notes. And then we've got sharps and flats that can go in between there. That's a sharp is a half step higher than the whatever note it precedes. So A half step would be A sharp, also known as B flat. So musical alphabet, then we use those notes to put them in order that go together, and that's called a scale. So the musical alphabet by itself is not a scale, it's just a group of letters. And things do work in alphabetical order as whatever scale we choose. You're going to start on a note and go up the scale, and maybe some of them will have sharps and flats. So notes go to make scales. Out of the scales, then we use notes within the scale to make chords. So G scale are the notes G, A, B, D, B, C, D, E, F sharp, and G. Now, the prominent chords, and as we've talked about, are the 1 chord. So that's the chord that comes from the root. It's always going to be the same name as the scale, which is also the name of the key of the song. So the 4th is 1, 2, 3, 4. So that C note, it is the root of the next chord, of the 4 chord, which is the next prominent chord. And then after C is D, which is also going to be a major chord. That's the next note in the scale. And that's your D chord. So G, C, and D, you'll hear over and over and over again for the rest of your life. So those kinds of things you'll be playing time and time and time again. And so very important chords to learn, and we're going to add to that E minor, which is right here. And we're going to go over these shapes right now. Try to keep this video reasonable length. So that's the G major scale, and it just comes from starting on a G and using our intervals of whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half, which we talk about every lesson, and we will talk about again, because all of Western music is pretty much based on the major scale, and variants of it are called different things, like a minor scale. All right, so how do we do these chords? And Wagon Wheel is a song we're probably going to be working towards, and it uses these 4 chords, G, D, E minor, and C. And the whole song basically repeats. So let's learn these chords. G, you're going to play 3rd fret, 6th string, 3rd fret, 1st string, 2nd fret, 5th string, A string. And think about the names of the strings as you put these down and really get them ingrained. And then what note are we playing? G note, B note, D note. So you could just play those 3, because you just need 3 notes to make up a chord, but we're going to learn it all 6 strings. Now, we talked about this in class, but I use my little finger to play that, because that's the way I learned it, and that's the way to do it. A lot of people play it with your ring finger on the high E string and your middle finger on the low E string and your index finger on the A string. Now, I don't play it like that, but a lot of people do, and you'll see that in a lot of books. And once again, these fingers are stronger, so I think a lot of people learn it that way because these fingers are stronger. But I encourage you to learn to play it both ways. There's a lot, and then there's another way to play it, which some people call the big G, because there's one more finger in there, one more note, and you have to play it like I do here, but you put your little finger, your ring finger on the D string. People call it the big G, because it really makes a lot of noise. Not that much. That B note turns into a D note, which is part of the scale. And there's advantage to playing that. We looked at class the other day. Start on the D. So people, a lot of songs have that little riff in it. So your choice, learn away, stick with it, and you'll see me doing it like that with my little finger though. All right, C chord, 3rd fret, 3rd fret, A string, 2nd fret, that's your ring finger, middle finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string, that's an E note, open G note, and then index finger, 1st fret, 2nd string, and you end up with this. And that's a 5-string chord because the root is on the 5th string, not the 6th string. So that's our 3 notes of that chord, are C, E, and G. So that sound, that's a 1st, a 3rd, and a 5th. That's what makes up a chord, not to be confused with the 1, 4, and 5 chords. So if we look at the C major scale, there's our 3rd, first 2 notes of the chord, and there's our 5th, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's our 5th note. So you could just play those 2 notes if you don't play all the strings. But we're going to put our index finger down on the 1st fret, 2nd string, and that makes that B string a C note. And now we've got C, E, G, C, and then the high E. There's a lot of variations you can do on this because this E note is actually in the low E, is actually in the chord, but it's not going to give it the same sound because that low E is going to dominate versus a C. When you're changing chords, you want the listener to be able to hear. There's our G chord. Okay, now we're playing a C note, C chord. All right, the next chord we want to learn is the D chord. So we're going to start on the 4th string, open D, open. Index finger on the 2nd fret, 3rd string. So there's our D note. This is an A note. Ring finger on the 3rd fret, 2nd string. That's another D note. And then middle finger on the high E string. And that's an F sharp note, which is our 3 notes in a D chord. And you want to get all these down. Remember, the goal in all of these things is, learning of these chords is clean tone. So as you learn them, as you learn these chords, you want to pick each string out individually. Don't get in a rush to strum the whole thing. Make sure that note rings. And and then the next note. And if it buzzes or mutes, then something's wrong. So just do that one finger by itself. All right, that's okay. Oh, but when I do that, so this finger is bumping against it. So you got to figure out how to curl your fingers enough so both those notes ring. And then you got to play the third note. Make sure it's not bumping. And then your next three notes are open. And then we're playing a high E string again with my little finger. Or you can play it once again like that. You can use 3 pencils and put down on those things, and that's still playing the chord. The guitar doesn't know how you're pushing the strings down. And then the last chord we're going to learn is your E minor, and that's a 6-string chord again because the root is on the E string. Middle finger goes on the 2nd fret, 5th string, ring finger on the 2nd fret, 4th string, so they're bumped together, and that's all we're playing. Well, that's all we're putting down. We're playing all 6 strings. If you may see it taught in a book that with index fingers there, and they teach people that because you can do that first day out in class and you can play a chord, but it limits you what you can do down the road. So I really this leaves your little finger more open. You can still do that, but then there's other things you can't do. So middle 2 fingers, I'm going to kind of insist you play it that way. Okay. So, for example, wagon wheel. That's how it goes, the whole song. So if we probably look at that song during the course of this. A little long on this video. I'm going to try to keep them about 10 minutes. I might do another one to kind of give us some more of a catch up. But if you'll email me or text me with questions I can address specifically on these videos, then I'll do that. Other than that, I'll see you Thursday. And by the way, we're going to be off the week of spring break, which is, I don't know the date. I think it's the 14th. We're going to be off. I'm going to be out of town that day, but we'll be back on schedule. All right, guys, have a great one.